สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chanata Pa Sirinawin from Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, or EGAT, Master of Ceremony for this event. I would like to welcome all of you to Thailand Pavilion. We are pleased to present and share our experience in green cooling revolution, RAC NAMA Fund, and the future of Thai industry. The panel discussion on this topic will focus on Thailand refrigeration and air conditioning, nationally appropriate mitigation action, or you can call RAC NAMA. We successfully transformed the Thai cooling sector and pushing it toward more climate-friendly and energy-efficient technology. The objective of the RAC NAMA Fund are to disseminate RAC NAMA project result in having initiated a sector-wide transformation towards the use of climate-friendly natural refrigerants, to inform the general public about the RAC NAMA project, and to present sustainable exit strategy on green cooling. Our project partners are shown in this slide. And this is today's outline. We have only 30 to 45 minutes to share a valuable information. And because this is a virtual presentation, if you have any question, you can contact us via email that we will show in the last slide. Our distinguished speakers who are in charge of this project will answer all your questions. And first of all, on this occasion, I would like to invite Mrs. Siwan Buranachot Paisan, Assistant Governor, Power Plant Planning of EGAT, to deliver an opening remarks.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, or EGAT, my name is Siwan Buranachot Paisan, Assistant Governor, Power Plant Planning. I'm honored to have this opportunity to deliver the opening remarks today. Thailand is an important industrial hub in the global refrigeration and air conditioning sector, or RAC sector. The use of RAC technologies accounts for more than half of the electricity consumed in Thailand. Without effective intervention, the growing of energy demand for cooling is projected to double by the year 2030. As the RAC sector is also one of the largest greenhouse gas emitters, reducing emissions from this sector will be the key to help Thailand achieve its ambitious nationally determined contribution greenhouse gases mitigation targets of 20 or 25% by 2030. The Thailand Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Nationally Appropriate Mitigation Action, or RAC NAMA project, sponsored by NAMA Facility on behalf of the Government of the Federal Republic of Germany and the Government of the United Kingdom, is decided to promote energy efficient and climate-friendly technologies through financial mechanisms for the whole chain of supply and demand, as well as service sector and technical support. The RAC NAMA project also aims to support the industry in staying competitive and focuses on four main products, including domestic refrigerators, commercial refrigerators, air conditioners, and chillers. On behalf of National Fund recipient, EGAT plays an important role as the project fund manager of the RAC NAMA Fund, with a budget of 8.3 million euro with the support from the Office of Natural Resources and Environmental Policy and Planning, Department of Alternative Energy Development and Efficiency, and GIZ as technical support units. Over the past 3 years, the RAC NAMA project has worked towards making green cooling technologies a reality in Thailand. Thailand now has 10 producers adopting green cooling technologies, and more than 150,000 green cooling products in the domestic and export markets. 8 training centers established across the country, more than 200 chief trainers and head technicians, testing facilities for air conditioning using natural refrigerant technology, and measurable, reportable, and verifiable or MRV system to track mitigation potential from the green cooling products. Today, the presentation of Green Cooling Revolution, RAC NAMA Fund and the Future of Thai Industry will disseminate the RAC NAMA project successfully results in having initiated a sector-wide transformation towards the use of climate-friendly natural refrigerants. ICAT is proud to play a role in pioneering Thailand's first climate finance project and initiating transition to green cooling technologies. ICAT also determines to continually promote sustainability and support Thailand in reaching its energy saving, as well as its greenhouse gases mitigation targets to align with ICAT's vision of innovate power solutions for a better life. With this remark, I wish this side event a great success. Thank you very much for your sincere attention, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again in COP the 27th.
Thank you very much for your wonderful opening remarks, Mrs. Siwan. Next, let me bring you all to the panel discussion. The distinguished speakers today are Dr. Philip Ficker, Coordinator Climate and Climate Finance from the Asia Pacific Accreditation Cooperation or APEC JZ. Mr. Panit Suthi Lonapum, Head of Greenhouse Gas Project Development Section, ICAT, and me, Ms. Chanata Pasili Nawin, Scientist Level 7 at Greenhouse Gas Management Department, ICAT, moderator in this section. Before we talking about RAC NAMA project, I would like to introduce my organization, ICAT, which is responsible for this project. Our organization, the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, or ICAT, is a state enterprise under the Ministry of Energy, responsible for power system security. Over a half century that we have existed alongside the Thai society by continuously introduce advanced and eco-friendly power generation technology to ensure the response to electricity demand, a crucial driver for the development of economic growth and the country. Our vision is innovate power solutions for a better life, and our mission is to be the country's main organization to secure the power, reliability, and enhance competitiveness of the nation through innovation for Thai happiness. For electric power structure of Thailand, Thailand has adopted the Enhanced Single Buyer Model, or ESB, which authorizes ICAT to be in charge of a dominant electricity supply and sole buyer of electricity. ICAT also serves as the system operator for the National Control Center, which controls the dispatch of power plants, electricity generation, and transmission nationwide efficiently. And next, I am proud to present the video about ICAT overview.
Electricity never ceases to flow. Electricity is everywhere. Providing reliable electrical energy for our country is the main mission of the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, or EGAT. No matter how high or how deep we have to go, EGAT will bring electricity for the sake of the country and the Thai people. Under the vision, Innovate Power Solutions for a Better Life, EGAT generates electricity with reasonable fuel management. This creates a balance between stability, price, and environmental care. Additionally, EGAT purchases electricity from independent power producers, small power producers, and from neighbouring countries. Electricity is transmitted via the EGAT power transmission grid that stretches across the country to electricity distributors to meet the demand of each sector. EGAT also sells electricity to neighbouring countries to create power system stability for the region. EGAT aims to increase the organisation's capability through research and innovative development of electricity generation. To support future needs, electricity generation is conducted with a hybrid system. In addition, the Battery Energy Storage System, or BESS, that supports grid modernisation also allows EGAT to access the international renewable energy market. The National Control Centre, or NCC, and the Renewable Energy Control Centre help manage renewable energy effectively. Security of the electricity system is prioritised for both the present and future needs of renewable energy, in accordance with the government's policy and power development plan. EGAT uses its organisational assets to conduct electrical industry businesses. And undertakes investments that help strengthen the power system. EGAT Innovation Holding Company Limited was established to efficiently conduct business relating to electrical innovation. EGAT helps create a high-quality society by sharing knowledge with the community. For a sustainable community. Walks side by side with the Thai people. And protects the environment with consciousness and technology. EGAT operates under good governance principles and core values. The night sky is charming, yet it emphasises the importance of electricity. EGAT promises that Thailand's electricity system will always be secure, stable and reliable. EGAT has driven itself into a century of innovation, generating sustainable and eco-friendly electricity. EGAT, power for Thai happiness.
Next, let's move to understand about RAC NAMA from Mr. Panit. Good afternoon, Kun Panit. Could you explain us what is the RAC NAMA Fund and how did EGAT receive this fund?
Okay, sure. คุณชนตาภา สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Panitha Suthiranapul from EGAT. Starting with the background of the RAC NAMA project, Thailand is located in Southeast Asia, so the weather is considered to be hot and humid in most time of the year. So we use a lot of refrigerator and air conditioner in our country, and this machine consume approximately 50% of the electricity generated in Thailand. And without effective intervention, the growing of the energy demand for the cooling sector is projected to be double in the next 10 years. So the refrigeration and air conditioning or RAC sector is one of the country's largest greenhouse gas emitter, accounting for 20% of greenhouse gas emission or approximately 70 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent each year. And 88% of this emission coming from energy use and the rest about 12% from the use of high global warming potential or high GWP refrigerant. And if we can reduce the emission from this sector, It will be the key to help Thailand achieve its ambitious greenhouse gas NAMA and NDC mitigation target. So, Thailand Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Nationally Appropriate Mitigation Action or RAC NAMA project is established to encourage the use of greener and more energy efficient cooling technology with natural refrigerant. The project is jointly funded by the British and German government through the NAMA facility and GIZ. The contract called the Grant Agreement worth 8.3 million euro or around 300 million baht was signed back on December 2017 between GIZ and EGAT, and EGAT is acting as the National Fund recipient and the fund manager of the RAC NAMA. The RAC NAMA project focuses on four main products: domestic refrigerator, commercial refrigerator, air conditioner, and chillers. The RAC NAMA projects aim to provide both financial and technical support on the whole supply chain of the RAC industry in Thailand. For technical component, RAC NAMA project has provided the technical expert to support on product design with natural refrigerant to local producer in Thailand, and also support on developing curricula to build the capacity of Thai trainer and technician on the safe handling with natural refrigerant, which is flammable. And for financial component, the support has been provided through partial grant and revolving fund. On supply side, RAC NAMA has provided a partial grant worth 80 million baht or 2.1 million euro and a revolving fund of 52 million baht or 1.3 million euro to 10 local producers to expand their production line on product with natural refrigerant. And on demand side, we signed an MOU with 4 big financial institutions. Fee of 10 million baht or 0.3 million euro were utilized to boost up the sale of the domestic refrigerator through the credit card campaign with 0% interest rate. And for other products, 146 million baht or 3.7 million euro were spent on revolving scheme to support the producer to use in their marketing campaign to promote their new product using natural refrigerant with end user and dealers. And for service sector, product testing facility has been upgraded to make it working safely on testing the product with natural refrigerant that will be soon be introduced to the market. And we also have set up 8 training centers locating across the country to address the safety concern and enhance the skill of trainer and technician on handling with the product with natural refrigerant during installation and maintenance. 17.5 million baht or 0.4 million euro were the total number spending in this service sector. From the beginning of RAC NAMA Fund back in December 2017, the technical and financial support had been progressively introduced to the RAC industry in Thailand. And even though we have been facing with the COVID-19 pandemic, we work closely with GIZ and all related stakeholders, and now the RAC NAMA project has been successfully completed. This slide shows the picture of the important event that we have gone through, starting with the signing of the grant agreement between GIZ and EGAT back in December 2017, 13 training workshops at 8 training centers, the 2-year anniversary to celebrate the success of the RAC NAMA project, and the site visit to the factory joining in our program, and etc. And here is the team of GIZ and EGAT who have been working under the RAC NAMA project and are the key to make all of this story happen. Thank you. Back to you, Kun Chanatapa.
Thank you, Kun Panis, for sharing us with the background and journey of the RAC NAMA Fund, the technical and financial support that has been implemented from 2017 to 2021. Now it's time to get some opinion from the donor side, GIZ. Good afternoon, Dr. Philip. Could you tell us about RAC NAMA highlight and achievement, and please share the story behind this success with us?
Thank you very much. My name is Philipp Fischke. I'm the former project director of RAC NAMA. Today I'm working in GIZ's Asia Pacific Latin America department more broadly on the topic of climate change and climate finance. But today it's a nice opportunity to look back onto the RAC NAMA project and the RAC NAMA Fund. So what did we achieve? When we came to Thailand, there were no green cooling technologies available or rather a niche, and it didn't play a role very much for the local industry. Today, we see that green cooling technologies are adopted by many market players, being it producers and end users, and recognized as the greenest cooling technology, the most environmental friendly cooling technology available. We have 10 producers technologies. Some of them in the commercial refrigeration sector very boldly, switching almost their entire production towards green cooling technologies. In the air conditioning sector, more carefully now experimenting with the first series of air conditioning, given that the market situation in the air conditioning sector is just much more difficult for green cooling technologies. Today we have sold already 150,000 in the commercial refrigeration sector, and we think that the commercial refrigeration sector will flip very soon almost entirely to natural refrigerants. In the air conditioning sector, it's much more difficult. We have mostly demonstration units or very small series, some requests from foreign countries for green cooling technologies, but there is not such a broad market, which will hopefully change in the future, also with ongoing support from our partners for green cooling technologies after the end of the project. For air conditioning, the qualification of technicians is one of the key issues for sure, and that needs skilled trainers to disseminate that knowledge. It needs training centers, it needs handbooks and everything, and that is what we provided. First of all, we qualified over 200 master trainers in public training institutes, in vocational schools, but also among producers, the knowledge to service technicians, production technicians, and so on, so that we can guarantee that there is good aftermarket service and safe aftermarket service for green cooling technologies. We have established 8 training centers nationwide in public institutions, which now can teach on the use of green cooling technologies. It will be part of their usual teaching, but also there will be an opportunity for industry to cooperate with these training centers and to roll trainings to their technicians in what I would call a public-private partnership. Also, we are working on embedding green cooling technologies into national skills standards and curricula. That means that in the future, every technician qualification will have to learn on green cooling technologies and will be qualified for green cooling technologies in the future. We also, because it's one of the big issues, we work on increasing the understanding for the safe use of natural refrigerants and for product safety. So we, for example, did a safety demonstration where we showed how natural refrigerants would react in a critical incident, and where we proved that as long as everyone adheres to what we would call good practices or maybe even common sense, and if international standards are being followed, that then the use of natural refrigerants is, of course, absolutely safe. We have established a testing facility for air conditioners to actually ensure that air conditioners can be tested against international standards. And has the capacity to actually enforce international and national safety standards for air conditioners, for commercial refrigerators, And these standards are also mandatory. So when buying cooling equipment, refrigerants in Thailand today, one can be sure that they are made to appropriate safety standards, and that these that tested against safety standards to ensure that there will be no issues in operation or servicing. We have seen on the regulatory side also an update of label number 5. Label number 5 is EGAT's an energy efficiency label, which is well received by household consumers. And this increase of label number 5 means that today it's much harder to get EGAT's stamp for being a very energy efficient product. Pulled the industry, it has changed the industry. So producers of cooling equipment now strive towards making greener, more energy efficient equipment, which is good for the entire industry, but it's also very good for green cooling equipment, because green cooling equipment has the potential to be the most energy efficient equipment in the market. Also, we have made sure that not only the first generation of producers benefits from the project, but also all producers. We have made a handbook how to build production for green cooling technology. It's publicly available as any other products we have made, for example, training handbooks, training slides, and so on. So today, everyone in Thailand who's interested applying green cooling technologies has access to knowledge products, to resources, and also in the future to trainings, and also, as we will learn later, to financial support. Now, these were all the most important achievement of NAMA, of course, is its mitigation, and that must be measured very thoroughly. So we had Thailand to establish an MRV system, and until today, this MRV system has accounted for a mitigation of 350,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions reductions. The system will live on, so Thailand will continue to monitor the emissions from the RAC sector and the emission reductions that were achieved by RAC NAMA, also maybe by other interventions in the future. And that will basically keep up the incentive to also support a greener cooling sector in the future, because actually now that green cooling technologies are available in Thailand, they are very much a low-hanging fruit in helping Thailand to achieve its climate targets. I'm saying that because one of the success factors for the RAC NAMA Fund was the strong trust and all the involved stakeholders, EGAT, GIZ, Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Energy in Thailand, but of course also our international donors. We always had great trust in EGAT's capacity to implement the fund. They are handling, as a state utility, much bigger amounts of money every day. We were more than positively surprised on how actively EGAT then embedded the RAC NAMA Fund into its energy efficiency strategy. Through its energy efficiency strategy, EGAT has anyway strong bonds into the Thai government, but also into the industry and also into the cooling industry for sure. And the RAC NAMA Fund was benefiting from this network very much, and could also benefit from the reputation of EGAT and the acceptance of EGAT as being one of the big players, or maybe even the biggest player in energy efficiency in Thailand. Further, the RAC NAMA Fund could actually benefit from a tendency in the Thai industry towards green businesses, towards carbon neutral strategies. So the RAC NAMA Fund came at a time where there was an increasing environmental consciousness among industry leaders, also in the cooling industry. And we have now a lot of companies on hands. We have worked with a lot of companies in the cooling industry that are actually deeply committed to increase the environmental friendliness of their product. Understood that the RAC NAMA Fund and the technical assistance from the RAC NAMA project would actually take them by the hand and ease the way towards becoming a greener company. Anyway, we shouldn't think that everything was perfect from the beginning. Of course, there were also moments where we found out that some of the instruments of the RAC NAMA Fund would not find the positive reception in the industry or among the end users as we expected. And I think it was in the end the flexibility of all partners involved, IGAT, GIZ, but also the donors, to adjust the strategies of the RAC NAMA Fund as needed to make the fund the success that it was in the end. Another factor certainly was patience. When introducing a new product, and green cooling technologies were new to Thailand, one cannot expect that everything goes smoothly from the first technology generation. But then, as of the second or third generation of the market were actually better than what we anticipated when starting the project. Also, what was very important is that IGAT and GIZ always aligned their actions. We, GIZ, were responsible for delivering technical assistance like trainings, like support on product development, ensuring product safety, while IGAT was the financial management of the NAMA Fund, basically investing into those companies which we made ready for green cooling technologies, and sure that the technical assistance we delivered would actually lead into investment cases where the RAC NAMA Fund could place its money. The RAC NAMA Fund actually supported the first generation of producers and end users using green cooling technologies, but a market transformation, that meaning the switch of an entire sector, of the entire cooling sector, of course needs more. It needs a second and third generation of producers and end users. And that means that knowledge needs to be preserved, that there must be continuous support for green cooling technologies. And we are very, very happy that IGAT continues what we started with the RAC NAMA Fund, and will now establish the Cooling Innovation Fund, which will actually carry on to support the market transformation, and will play a very instrumental role to disseminate green cooling technologies across the entire industry.
Thank you, Khun Philip, for sharing us how the RAC NAMA Fund has become so successful. It's because of trustful cooperation and flexibility in adjusting instruments and strategy as implementing phase. And next, I have some questions to Khun Panit. Khun Panit, how to transit from the RAC NAMA Fund to IGAT Cooling Innovation Fund?
Okay, sure, Khun Chanatapa. The RAC NAMA Fund has been implemented since 2017 to March this year. However, there is a fund left in the RAC NAMA bank account, since one of the financial mechanisms implemented under the RAC NAMA Fund is the revolving fund. So at the end of each contract of revolving fund, the money once paid out will return back to IGAT. And the donor of the RAC NAMA Fund, the British and German government, agreed to let IGAT continue to use the remaining fund to support the green cooling technology in Thailand. So the contract called the Concluding Agreement between GIZ and IGAT was signed in December 2020, and the Cooling Innovation Fund or CIF Fund was established with the objective to promote sustainable innovation and market transformation towards climate-friendly and energy-efficient cooling technology using natural refrigerants. The period of the contract is from April 2021 to June 2024, so approximately 3 years. And the budget of the CIF is nearly 188 million baht or 4.8 million euro. And IGAT will carry on to be the fund manager just like in the RAC NAMA. The scope of support under the Cooling Innovation Fund will be broader and extended from the RAC NAMA. Besides the scope of cooling technology using natural refrigerant, just like in the RAC NAMA, CIF can also support, for example, alternative cooling technologies, demand flexibilization, refrigerant destruction, and etc. Under the scope of CIF, IGAT plans to use the fund in 4 strategic pillars. First one is knowledge management and communication. The second one is training and education. We plan to enhance the outreach of training at 8 existing training centers setting up during the RAC NAMA period. And we also plan to expand new training facility and more cooperation. For demonstration and pilots, the demand-side pilot project, for example, we will promote the use of the water loop cooling system using natural refrigerant in large-scale centralized cooling application in supermarket and hypermarket. And we plan to promote the use of top-tier commercial refrigerator with high energy efficient label, which is the product from local producer support with the production line expansion under the RAC NAMA. And also the demonstration of new technology and alternative cooling and circular economy and waste management. And for safety and standard, we will support the R&D on safety and product development and plan to upgrade more testing facility in Thailand for testing the product with natural refrigerant that are growing in number. CIF fund is expected to start in the 4th quarter of this year, and IGAT will use the experience and knowledge from the implementation of the RAC NAMA to manage the Cooling Innovation Fund. And we are looking forward to continuing the good cooperation with our agency and to form new partnership to support the green cooling technology in Thailand. Thank you. Back to you, Kun Chanatapa.
Thank you, Kun Panit. So the Cooling Innovation Fund or CIF will last about 3 years from now and will use the remaining fund from the RAC NAMA to continually support the green cooling technology in Thailand. Today I would like to thank you, Kun Panit and Kun Philip for sharing such an interesting presentation. So from 2017 to the present day, RAC NAMA has successfully supported Thailand's energy saving and climate change target through the introduction of climate-friendly and energy-efficient cooling technology. Looking forward, IGAT will build upon this success and apply the experience and knowledge that gained from the implementation of the RAC NAMA Fund to manage the Cooling Innovation Fund. To further promote sustainable innovation and market transformation to climate-friendly and energy-efficient cooling technology using natural refrigerants. And for the audience, if you have any question or would like further information, please contact us by email that shown in this slide. And finally, I would like to thank you very much for your sincere attention in this side event. Keep the distance, stay safe, and have a nice day. Bye bye.